Let's see here. We had been talking about services, if I remember, and we had talked about what a service is and what is a service. For some reason, the camera went back to the original reset twice now when we were messing with stuff. Okay, let's try this again. We were talking about, what were we talking about? Help me out here. What were we talking about? And if you say, what is a customer, I am going to be, because we know what a customer is. We were talking about services. That's right. And what is a service? In case you happen to have the notes in front of you. Or even better, if you don't have your notes in front of you, yes? Yes. So the question is, are we picking up where we left off Tuesday? The answer is yes, which I was just teasing in, but you spoiled my whole intro. They taught me in teaching school that if you remind people of what the context was for it, there's better learning. But that doesn't seem to help me. So anyways, we were talking about service, and we had talked about service quality, and we had defined service quality as being. Being what? Meeting or exceeding customer expectations, and relating back to the characteristics of a service. Some of the issues with quality in service relates to that variability characteristic, because people are humans and humans are not machines. There's going to be some inconsistency in service provision, and that's anti-quality, and so we talked about some of the ways to get around that. And then when we're dealing with meeting or exceeding expectations, it's important not to get into that ratchet effect, because customers will not reward you for going above and beyond what they expected, but they will punish you if they don't get what they thought they deserved. So this I had talked about. These are attributes that are frequently used when measuring services. These also apply to physical products as well. They're just more prominent when we're talking about services. And there's three kinds of attributes that we're dealing with. The easiest kind is what we call search attributes. And a search attribute is something that a customer can evaluate before a purchase. So in a case of a service, price. I can find out what the price is. If it's a menu item, I can find out what the ingredient list is. And the idea with search attributes is they're a way to attract customers, because they can, if they're thinking about making a purchase or thinking about using the service, these are things that they can evaluate without having tasted the service or without having tried it, and it's a way to set them apart. The next kind of attribute is a little more obscure. These are experiential attributes, and these are attributes that can only be evaluated after you have consumed the service. So when Disney says it's the happiest place on earth, anybody been to Disney World? Land? Disney place? Was it the happiest place on earth? Well, some said yes, some said no, but the point is that claim we can make, but I can't evaluate it until after the service has been performed. So those are a way of managing customer expectations. And just a piece of advice, I've used this all of my life. Managing customer expectations with services is really important. In the business world, I have found, and you have even observed in this class, that if you have a meeting, always, when you say how long the meeting is going to be, always give the longest possible that you think the meeting can be, because nobody is ever angry if a meeting ends early. But if the meeting goes a little longer, then people get really angry. I've noticed this in this class when we get out sometimes early. I've never had a complaint that you let us out too early. But again, that's managing the expectations. If I say the class is going to be 30 minutes long and it goes 35 minutes, you're angry. If I say the class is going to be 40 minutes long and it goes 35 minutes, you're happy. So it's just managing that expectations. And again, this is where experiential attributes can help you. I've got the world's best tasting cup of coffee. Well, let's prove it. The last kind of attribute, and this is the most tricky, are credence attributes. And these are attributes that you as the customer cannot evaluate even after the service has been performed. So when you go to the doctor, did the doctor do a good job?
Still
Yeah, you're still here. That's a good sign. But do you know whether or not your doctor is doing a good job or not? Did they take your breathing in 5 different places and check? So even after we've consumed the service, we don't know if that has been good or not. So one of the ways that we deal with this credence issue, and this is what we had talked about in the auto repair shop, in the doctor's office, in the lawyer's office, is that certification. Some kind of a documentation that even though I don't know whether or not the doctor did a good job, I do know that the doctor was board certified, and I have to trust that the board knew what they were doing. Yes?
There's a lot of certifications that we see for services, such as the diamond certification. It looks very official, and then you find out you actually pay $6,000 a year to get one of those, and then you can put it on your van.
So diamond certification, what's that for?
Any kind of service.
Any kind of service. So I can get a diamond certified service for $6,000, and what that tells the customer is that you paid $6,000.
So most people don't know that.
Most people don't know that. They think that, yeah. So again, it's a credence attribute. I don't know whether or not the evaluating, whether that service was done well or not. And diamond certification, I've seen that in home improvement type. I haven't seen that in automotive, but they probably have their own. So you're in home improvement, construction? Yeah, very. And again, in the contracting business, this is one of those where I can't, once the walls are sealed and the inspection has been passed, I don't know whether or not you did a good job or not. Except
I've found 20-year-old beer cans in walls.
Yeah, you found 20-year-old beer cans in walls, and fortunately the beer was still good. They don't make that kind anymore. But again, with the credence quality, even after the service has been performed, there's no way that you as the customer are in a position to evaluate it. So from a marketing perspective, you need some kind of third-party documentation certification as an assurance to the customer that you know what you're doing.